once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for joining me once again. All throughout the month of November, I've aimed to bring you a brand new review each and every day. Now, it may have been a written review over at the newly redesigned thegaminggang.com or a video review hosted by yours truly, which obviously is the case today. And today actually marks our final review of November. Today, I will be sharing my thoughts about Battlezoo Ancestries Classic Creatures from Roll for Combat. This is written by William Fisher and Mark Seifter. This 244-page hardcover is available now. You can get the PDF with it absolutely free if you order from battlezoo.com. It does carry an MSRP of $59.99. Or if you just want to get the PDF, it's $39.99. Now, we are going to be taking a look at the 5e edition of the book, but you can also get this for Pathfinder. All that said, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got the classic creatures for Battlezoo Ancestries. A couple of things before we jump on in. First of all, my friends over at Roll for Combat were kind enough to provide me with this review copy. Neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this review with you. These days, it's important you know that. We're also not going to look at each and every page of the book, but I do want to give you a good feel for what you're going to find inside this volume. All right, let's dive on in. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the credits page. A lot of folks worked very hard to bring this to life, so let's give credit where credit is due. This volume contains a dozen ancestries for players to take on the roles of, and I will say that they vary as far as how easy they're going to be to incorporate into your campaigns for Dungeons and Dragons. And there are a couple here that I think are kind of odd, or I guess the word I would use is goofy, because I honestly can't picture players out there saying, hey, you know what? I want to play as a dungeon, or I want to play as an intelligent weapon. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I just don't see it. But having said that, got to also point out that there's a lot of really good content in this book too. And each one of these ancestries is going to get a lot of page space devoted to it. So as you can see here, let's use doppelgangers as an example. So we're going to start off, we're going to get information about doppelgangers. What are they? What kind of bonuses do they get as far as their attributes? What kind of alignments will they have? We're going to get a physical description. We're going to go into doppelganger society, as well as backgrounds, suggested characteristics. Now, we will also get these side boxes throughout that'll give us a little more detail about utilizing these at your game table. So I like that feature of that. We're also going to get into different groups. We might see some subspecies of the various different ancestries. Of course, we're going to have feats for them also. Here we've got a doppelborn. So it's kind of an offshoot of the doppelganger. So we get quite a bit of detail about that as well. So that's pretty much the breakdown and the layout for each of the ancestries. As far as production quality, really nicely done, as we've come to expect from Roll for Combat. Paperweight, really nice. This is excellent paper stock. As you can see, the images are popping off the page. Artwork throughout, fairly uniform, pretty good. I like the vast majority of it. As I had pointed out just a moment ago, I think that, say, 10 of these are really useful. I could see them making their ways into various different campaigns. As I already pointed out, some easier than others. So as an example, like Gremlins, I would think Gremlins are going to be easier to incorporate into most people's campaigns as opposed to, say, demons. or a dungeon or intelligent weapon. Although I do like the demon ancestry, I think it's really well done. I just think that it's probably not going to be designed for most people's campaigns. And that is one of the things that I think it's important to make note of with classic creatures. Not everyone is going to get the same sort of mileage out of this book. So if you have fantasy campaigns that are a little more tongue in cheek in certain ways, then yes, you will get more use out of this book than someone who's probably just running something that's a bit more traditional high fantasy. Great example would be Mimics. I actually like this ancestry. In fact, the artwork kind of makes me chuckle. I could see players wanting to play as Mimics, but then again, it might be a little too off the wall for some dungeon masters and players out there too. So just keep that in mind. Minotaurs are really nicely done too. I think this is probably this and the doppelgangers are probably the easiest of these ancestries to slip right on into just about any campaign. So just giving you a quick peek through as far as the content. And I was really impressed by how much page space is devoted to each of these ancestries. Really well done. Like I said, how useful they'll all be is going to vary for different dungeon masters as well as different players out there, too. All right, so that's a peek inside Classic Creatures, part of the Battlezoo Ancestries lineup. Taking a peek at the 5e edition. Swing on over to the other camera. I'm going to give you some final thoughts as well as my review score. I do like Classic Creatures for Battlezoo Ancestries. Once again, I can't see all of these being utilized in someone's campaign. I also think the intelligent weapon and the dungeon entries, I don't see a lot of people using those. So it's almost, I don't want to say wasted pages, but I don't think a lot of people are going to get a ton of mileage out of those too. Just my opinion. Production quality, really nicely done. I like the vast majority of these entries. And all in all, I think it is certainly worth adding to your collection if these ancestries appeal to you as a dungeon master or if they'll appeal to your players. So, on a scale of 0 to 10, I give Battlezoo Ancestries Classic Creatures for 5e a 7.5 out of 10. I like it. I recommend it. I can't say I recommend it for everyone out there. And once again, I think a couple of the ancestries are kind of goofy. All right, that is it for this time out. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. It'll not only let you know when I share videos such as this review, it'll also inform you when my live stream, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings, 7 p.m. Central, right here on YouTube. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit the newly redesigned thegaminggang.com for the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you're not going to find on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Thank you very much for watching. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Until I see you next time, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.